It's your boy Coach Defense here. Thanking you for supporting the channel. Become a lockdown defender by hitting that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And if you're enjoying your time, hit that like button. Help us grow in the community. Now check out our latest video. Leave a comment. And as always, you got to step up to lock it down. So normally we would take a trip out to the West Coast, but the Chargers are actually on the East Coast this week. And a very interesting move. And I'm gonna touch on this real quick when it comes down to getting to Chargers corner for this week. The Chargers on the East Coast tour this week. They visited the Panthers over the weekend and got an impressive win. Now, Coach Harbaugh, being the coach that he is, decided to keep the team on the East Coast to save the bit of travel miles on the players' bodies from being a thing. Because they face off against the Panthers this week, and they go ride up I-95 again this week again to face off the Steelers on Sunday. Now, I'm on record as saying it's something Brandon Staley would have never done. And I've complained about the league in back-to-back years that they've done this to the team, where they've scheduled us for East Coast games on back-to-back weeks. So you got to travel, live on East Coast time, West Coast time, East Coast time, West Coast time. It's been an issue, right? It's been an issue for years. So what does Harbaugh do? Come right in day one and say, we're not doing all this flying back and forth. The jet lag and things of that nature affecting my players. And we got to play an early game, because not only do they put us on the East Coast in back-to-back weeks, but they give us the early game. So it's 10 o'clock for West Coast people when it's 1 o'clock here. So, you got the time difference and you got all that playing against you, and you're going to travel on top of that 5.5 hours across country. So Jim Harbaugh was saying, we staying in Carolina this week. We're going to practice here. We're going to stay here. We're going to take a short, bus trip or flight up to Pittsburgh, 45 minutes, hour, whatever time frame is. And we're going to play a football game on that time frame. We're not going to do the whole back and forth and causing us to come out slow and flat early in this game, because it's going to be a different one this week. It's definitely going to be this one this week. But nonetheless, as I digress, the Chargers are 2-0 for the first time in over 10 years. And they got another test this week going up against the Chargers. It looks like Justin Fields is going to start this week, and that defense, that is something to reckon with. Now, we argued about, what the other teams, defenses look like with, against the, the Browns on that one side and the Cowboys, who we thought were going to be good. But that Steelers defense is as advertised. I will say that. So let's talk about the Chargers win quickly about, against the Panthers, the good and the bad, and what would happen in that game. And then we'll talk about the Steelers this week coming up, and we'll get to the keys to victory and what will be in that game. So starting off with talking about the Chargers game against the Panthers. So, very, I guess you can say, quick start to the game. I was very impressed about that. The running game was present early. We took a little while against the Raiders to get going in that game one, but we definitely came out and said we're going to run the ball effectively. And did that early on. Didn't have to wait for that. So that was clicking early. We had a Quentin Johnson sighting.
Yes, it did.
He had 2 touchdowns this particular week. Got to give him a shout out to that. I'm very critical. Again, there's one thing I will do, and I will say this. If I'm critical on you when you do well, I will give you kudos. I will give you your props. So he had a good game. Whether or not I'm sold on this going to be an ongoing thing, I'm not. I mean, you have to show me some consistency and catch the ball with your hands on a consistent basis, because even though he did catch the ball a few times in the game, it was still all body catches. He wouldn't catch the ball with his hands like I like to see. That shows me that you have confidence in your ability to bring in the passes. So, his production was his production. I'm sure a lot of people are going to jump on the waiver wire this week in fantasy to pick him up, because I'm sure he's available in a lot of leagues, because a lot of people are writing him off. But he did have a great game against the Panthers. He beat J.C. Horn early, which I was shocked about, because J.C. Horn's a very good corner. So, he had a really good game. He's wide open on the second touchdown, which was probably a blown coverage. But, definitely, get a good game by him, and hopefully that builds confidence in him, and he will allow him to, live up to that first round grade that he has as being a first round pick for this team. So, we can only, it only would benefit the team if he does well. Let me put it that way. So hopefully this continues, but he will have another daunting test going against that secondary and Joey Porter Jr. and those guys from the Steelers as well. And they're going to be physical with him. So, hopefully he can, withstand that and increase that production like he did in week 2. But on the negative side, I will say that I do believe, especially from the interior, that the pass rush and pass protection is an issue. I think Joe Hart and Rashawn Slater are doing a pretty bang up job from the tackles level, but that internal pressure is still an issue. Now, I did break this down early on in my coverage in the preseason about the Chargers that I was concerned about Bradley Bozeman. He's the center on this team. Zion Johnson, Trey Pipkins, they doing okay, but I think that it starts and stops with Bradley Bozeman's interior protection abilities. I think that they're really getting after him. I think the league knows that he has issues with pass pro, and I think they're really getting after him with stunts and twists and different schemes that kind of confuse him, that allowed him to get pressure on Justin Herbert, excuse me, which allowed for him to make some uncharacteristic mistakes in the game. He threw a couple of ugly picks in the game. It didn't affect the game, but it was just two ugly picks, and it's not like him. He's one of the best touchdown to turnover ratio quarterbacks in the league. So he doesn't turn the ball over a lot on his own volition. If he throws the ball to you, hits your hands and it bounces up in the air and somebody catches it, that's one thing. But he doesn't directly throw it to the other team a lot. And he threw one to Jason Horn, was an ugly pick. One he was being pressured and he threw another ugly pick. I think he turned the ball over another time on like a fumble. We kind of got twisted up a little bit, so his legs a little sore. But I definitely believe that it's going to be interesting, from that perspective, how our pass protection holds up against this particular D line and this pass rush, because Alex Highsmith, of course, is going to be on his horse, and Cam Hayward and those guys, they just got a hell of a D line in general. So we definitely going to get tested in that space. So I think that is an issue. We were talking about Herbert's uncharacteristic mistakes, but I think they did what they were supposed to do. When it comes down to playing against Carolina, they held them to something crazy like 1 for 11 on third down. Only give up 3 points. Bryce Young had a nasty game, which got him benched, ironically, which I'm very shocked about. But I'm not going to talk about that too much. But I do believe that they did what they were supposed to do in Carolina, going across the country and playing the early East Coast game. They did what they were supposed to do. 26-3 was the score, so it was a good game. I guess you'll say if you want to nitpick at certain things, I think the run defense can be better, and I think it will get tested this week at a higher clip. I think we gave up some ugly runs, although it didn't amount to much, because Carolina as a whole is a very undisciplined team, so we got away with a few things. But I don't think that they're going to get away with that same thing this week against Pittsburgh, because they're a well-coached team and they don't make a lot of undisciplined mistakes. So I think that the run defense is going to get tested. I think they got 2 weeks of film to see that, although we're playing pretty good defense so far, I think that the one thing they can do, or they will see, that they can run the ball on us a little bit. I'm not saying we're going to give up with 200 yards on the ground, but I do believe that they see some lanes and some holes where people had ran off a couple of decent runs on us. So I think that could use some improvement. We've had to take the week 2 game. Now, getting into the idea of what week 3 is going to look like. I think this, it's a pretty simple, game plan, but I think it needs to be highlighted as far as what really is going to be the issue, and quote unquote, what's going to be the keys to victory when it comes down to beating Pittsburgh on Sunday. I think Alt versus TJ Watt. Now, imagine this: Joe Alt as a rookie tackle, right tackle, who's never played that position before, got to go up against Max Crosby week 1, got to go up against Jadeveon Clowney in week 2. And then he gets to go up against TJ Watt in week 3. So you mean to tell me, how much of a trial by fire is this for him? Is just crazy to me in that scheduling. But he's holding his own. I got to give him credit. He's holding his own. I think he only gave up 1 pressure, maybe 1 sack in a week 2 game. He didn't give up any on week 1. So
had you nervous when he got drafted?
Very, very, because not only I was concerned about where he was going to play, but if he did play right tackle, how was he going to transition? Because like I said, he did not look good in the combine and in his pro day looking at that position. Like, they try to get him to line up there and he did not look comfortable. But, shouts out to whoever trained him in off season to get him ready for that transition, because he's doing pretty well. He's doing pretty well so far. I'm not going to, crown him just yet, but through 2 games, he looks pretty good. Now, this is going to tell you how well he's doing, because TJ Watt is one of the best pass rushers in the league, if not, bar none. It's never get much better than going against TJ Watt. And if you hold him down, then yeah, definitely can say that he's going to be here to stay if he can hold TJ Watt down. But it's tall order.
If you can hold your own in that aspect,
right?
Yeah.
So again, what he does against TJ Watt is going to be the thing. You cannot let TJ Watt wreck this game. So if Joe Watt can't hold up against him 1-on-1, which I mean not many people can, you're going to have to give him some help because you can't let TJ Watt wreck this game.
No, and he is a home wrecker.
Very much so. Very much so. He's worse than Zach Wilson at a soccer mom convention.
Listen, he comes with full side piece season energy.
Yeah, he does. He definitely does. So yeah, I would definitely say that if he does not hold up well against TJ Watt on his own, and we can't keep him from Herbert's front side, get him some help. Definitely get him some help. So I will say that's going to be one of the biggest keys. And then I will say again, the run game will be tested because going up against the Steeler front is going to be the best front we're going to face in their first 3 weeks. When it comes down to the idea of us running the ball, because we had a little bit of a slow start against the Raiders, but we ran the ball pretty effectively against them. Ran the ball really well all game against the Panthers, but that front seven for the Steelers ain't gonna let it happen as easy. So I do believe that the running game will get tested. Now, if we're able to run the ball, I think I think the run game is here to stay because it's gonna be one of the best runs we're gonna see all year. So we're able to run the ball. That's gonna make the game easier for Justin and our receivers. But I will say that, in I guess you can say in light of that, the pass protection, what I talked about a little bit earlier, and the pass game will be needed in this game. I don't think we're going to be able to run the ball 40 times a game and just keep them on the field and be able to win the game. I do think we're going to have to pass the ball. I think we're going to have to hold up in pass protection, and Justin's going to need time to throw the ball to these receivers because, again, if you had to put, a chink in the armor is regarding what they do best and what they do worse, probably the upper on the higher end of the list of what they do worse is their pass game. Is their pass coverage. So, they don't have elite corners. I mean, they got decent corners, but they don't have elite ones. So if we can keep the pass rush off of Justin and he has time to throw, I think we'll have success in throwing the ball this week. So that's going to be one thing that we need to do. Hold up in pass pro and throw the ball a tiny bit more because we're not going to be able to run the ball, 40, 50 times a game and expect it just to, work itself out, in my opinion. So I think Greg won't get away from it. But it's going to be tested early on how well we run the ball against this front. Yeah. And like I said earlier, about the Chargers run defense being tested, because same thing, Greg likes to do, Mike and Arthur Smith like to do is run the ball downhill. Najee and Jalen and that O-line. So they're going to test our run defense. They're going to get downhill with those backs and see how well we hold up against the run early, for sure. For sure. Now, if they get down in the game and they got to press and throw the ball, that's a different conversation. But I do believe that if the game is close, we always have to worry about the run game and what that does to our defense. And it's going to be the biggest test we've had in the first early part of the season, first quarter of the season. So I do believe that particular aspect of it is going to be a good test for us, and see if we can hold up, with our dogs in the front.
Right.
Khalil Mack, Poona Ford, Thierry Tart, Joey Bosa, and those boys, can they hold up? And the final part of it is that can pressure with our front, get him in third and medium, third and long situations, and pressure and contain Justin Fields. Don't let him run all around the yard with his legs, and keep him in the pocket and make him throw the ball.
Yeah,
keep him in the pocket, make him throw the ball. So we can keep him in the pocket, get after him with our pass rush, contain him, and not let him run wild. I think we'll be in good shape. Again, I don't think I'm not going to expect 20 yards from Dobbins, but if we eclipse the 100-yard mark against this team, I think we're in good shape. But I do think we have to throw the ball more to win.
Okay.
For my money. So so that's my breakdown for sure. Tell me, what you think about the game and anything that you want to add to it before we move on. But yeah, I like where we're at. I think that it's gonna be a really good test for us. The offense isn't blowing people out of the arena. So I think that we can hold them down and run the official offense. I think we'll be fine.
Right. What I would say is I think what Jim is doing is taking, how can I say it? He's strategically putting Justin in a better position by this first year becoming run dominant, restricting the amount of passes that Justin has to make and allowing Justin to make critical passes in critical moments at a high level.
Okay.
I don't know if Justin has thrown over or attempted over 30 passes
Oh yeah, it's not
in either game.
Oh yeah, it might be in the realm of 20 or less.
Yeah. So that is a formula to win because the running game has been dominant. J.K. Dobbins is leading the NFL in rushing right now.
Right.
That we're seeing the running back that we thought we would see and who actually was showing this in Baltimore before the knee injuries and before the lower leg injuries. And it's just something about Jim Harbaugh. Listen, Jim Harbaugh has some special quirky quality that is uncommon to a lot of other coaches because he's able to rebuild a program extremely fast. I don't know what it is. Somebody needs to go peek in his office.
It needs to be studied.
It needs to be studied because he does what a lot of other people wish their coaches would do, which is he immediately turns things around extremely fast.
Agreed.
And that's what he's doing, right? And so he's putting Justin in a great position. His running game is dominant. He has a formula. He's going to have a very strong running game. He's going to be physical. His defense is going to play, and his quarterbacks are just going to have to make key passes at critical times. But the passes that the quarterbacks have to make are high percentage passes.
Right.
So, I mean, you look at it, 2-0 with a lot of the same players that we scratched our head when they're going to get it together. The defense is dominant. It's physical. The running game is physical. They're getting downhill. And like I said, J.K. Dobbins has had 230-yard games back-to-back. And Justin has had 2 high percentage games back-to-back. So,
So
I think everything you
26 tap passes in week 1 and 20 in week 2. That's a 10.
There's a formula.
Yep.
There's a formula. And like you said, if Joe holds his own, if he holds his own against TJ Watt, that's going to bode well for you for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Because again, that's probably the best person you're going to face all year.
Yeah. So,
I think let me see. Yeah, I think that TJ Watt probably gonna be the best. I mean, him and Max Crosby. We're gonna see Max Crosby again, but again, like I said, he stonewalled Max Crosby in the first matchup. So, I would argue that he's gonna look pretty good against him in the second matchup at the end of the season. But yeah, so I think he's gonna have to see Myles Garrett probably on week 9 at some point. I'll probably get a little bit of Chris Jones in that Kansas City game next week. Because he lines up with the edge sometimes. But that's probably gonna be the best person he's gonna see. Him, Myles Garrett, and Max Crosby gonna be the top 3 you're gonna see all year.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you're right. Defensive, I think that Minkah Fitzpatrick is gonna be an X factor in this game too. I have to stay away from him. Target other safety. Don't throw nowhere near Minkah. That's for sure. That is for sure. But yeah, so hopefully, we'll get things done. We started season 3 and going into KC. I'm gonna really like our chances there. We're playing against KC because again, a lot of people are saying, just like I'm thinking, we got a formula to beat them, and we have always played the Chiefs tough. I'm not trying to get too far ahead, but we played them tough, and I think only thing that's really held us back in those games is mistakes that coaches have made or players have made down the stretch. And Jim Harbaugh seems to be, kind of throwing that out the window. As far as it being an issue for the team. So if that continues, I think I like our chances next 2 games. But we'll see. We'll see when we get there. But we see the start of the Raiders game, the hurry up offense, then wear them down towards the end. I was wondering if they're thinking anything. Yeah, that could be a good formula. You're right. Yeah, try to wear them down early, and then you're able to take advantage of them late because they'll be tired. So that's a good formula. What a good defensive front. I agree with that. That's a good take. That's definitely a good take. I like that. Okay, but yeah, we'll see what things look like come 1 o'clock on Sunday. But I'm looking forward to it. But again, Mike Tomlin's team is probably the most disciplined and well-coached team they're going to face in this early set of games. So it's going to be a dogfight, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be a dogfight.